In this video, you will understand how to use the various default Revit family templates and also create your own custom family template. Additionally, you will understand typical hosting options available when creating families and how to use these to create an intelligent model. Family templates are used to control certain aspects of your new family. Specific categories, geometry and parameters are set up to rapidly configure how the family behaves within a Revit project. Revit has a library of family templates that you can begin with, or you can use a generic model family with your desired hosting style as a starting point. Revit family templates have the file extension .rvt. When working with Revit families, a number of different hosting options are available. Typically, when starting a generic model, you have the option to choose from a variety of different hosting options. You can then set the category of your family and proceed to build the family geometry. Go ahead and open up the hosting model. This is a very simple model that just contains a few walls, shown in red, and a floor, shown in blue. The idea with this is we'll be able to actually practice hosting a wall-based family onto these walls here. Let's begin by investigating the family templates. To do this, we'll select the File ribbon, we'll pause over New, and select Family. In the New Family Select Template File dialog, you can now see that we have a series of Revit family templates. Notice the file extension is .rft. These are standard templates that ship with Revit. Most of the templates are fairly self-explanatory. For example, if we take a look down through the list, we can see that we have a template to create furniture. We have another one here to create entourage. Perhaps some more here to create lighting. And then you can see that we have one at the bottom here for a window. And of course, one at the top here for door, and so on. So like I say, these are fairly self-explanatory. But let's now investigate some hosting options. You'll notice that we have a series of generic model templates, and these simply differ by the way that they're hosted. You'll notice here that we have ceiling-based, for example, face-based, floor-based. In this example, we're going to go ahead and select generic model wall-based. Let's go ahead and select Open. So Revit now creates a new family based on that template. In my case, you'll notice that the family is named Family 2. Within this particular template, you'll note that we have a wall, and we also have a piece of text telling us that this is going to be the placement side. We'll begin by creating a simple extrusion. On the Create ribbon in the Forms panel, go ahead and select Extrusion. In the Draw panel, select Rectangle. We'll begin by sketching our rectangle and snapping to the nearest point on this face of the wall. We'll then click an arbitrary point here to complete the sketch. The particular size and dimension of this isn't important, this is simply to understand the hosting. We'll go ahead and complete the extrusion by selecting Finish Edit Mode. We'll now save our family. On the Quick Access toolbar, click Save. In the Save As dialog box, we'll name our family Wall-Based Family. Go ahead and select Save. We're now ready to test our family within the project environment. If we take a look up onto the Modify ribbon, we can see here that we have two methods to load the family into our project. We can load the family into the project but leave the family file open by using Load into Project, or we can load into the project and actually close down the RFA file. Let's select Load into Project and close. You'll notice now that Revit has loaded this family in, and it's also activated the Place Component tool. We can see that this particular tool is active because we have a context ribbon that says Modify Place Component, and in the Properties palette in the Type selector, you'll note here loaded is our wall-based family. Let's now see what happens if we try and place the family within our model. You'll notice that if I move into white space in the background of Revit, you'll see here I have a no entry symbol. However, if I move over a valid host, such as this wall, you'll then see our family previewed on the wall. And of course, you'll see here that it's hosted onto whichever wall I move over. Let's place an instance here, and we'll place another instance over here. It is also possible to place wall-based families in plan. So in the project browser under floor plans, let's open up the first floor plan. We'll then place another component. On the architecture ribbon, let's select component. And once again, in the properties palette in the type selector, you'll see that we have our wall-based family loaded. Again, you'll notice our no entry symbol, but of course we're able to then place this on the existing walls. Let's now switch back to the 3D view. We can actually see that when we placed out the wall-based family in the 3D view, the height of the family was governed by where we picked. So for example, if I select this arbitrary position here, you'll see not only is the family hosted onto the wall, but it's placed at that elevation I happen to select. You'll see that the three elements that I placed in plane are actually at 0, i.e. they're right at the bottom of the wall. Let's now see how we can set a correct and accurate height for those. On the Modify Place Component ribbon, let's select the Modify button to release the component command. We'll then go ahead and select one of our wall-based families. I'm going to select this one here. And now, in the Properties palette, we can clearly see here that we have elevation from level. Presently, this is set to 0. Let's set this to 4 feet. And you'll now see that that family is now elevated at that right level. Of course, we can select multiple families by holding down a control key, and then we can go and amend our elevation from level. So once again, I'll set these 3 families I've selected to 4 feet. Let's now investigate what would happen if we move a wall. To make this easier to see, we'll tile the 3D view and the first floor plan. To do this, we'll select the View ribbon. On the View ribbon, we'll select Tile Views. And in the first floor plan, let's select this wall here, and what we'll do is we'll just change this to perhaps 4 feet. And of course we can see that the wall's moved, and the 2 wall-based families that are hosted onto that wall have also moved as well. So we may need to create some additional furniture items that are also wall-based. These could be things like bookcases, bookshelves, pictures, televisions, that type of thing. So what we'll need to do to make this process a bit more efficient, we could actually create our own Revit family template file for this particular purpose. To do this, we'll begin by closing down our current project. Select the File ribbon and then select Close. If we're prompted to save changes, say No. To begin the creation process of our Revit family template file, we'll first create a new family with one of the default templates. In the home screen, let's create a new Revit family. In the New Family Select Template File dialog, once again, we'll select Generic Model Wall-Based and click Open. Again, in the template, you can see that we have a wall, and this is the placement side. What we're now going to do is specify the furniture category for this particular Revit family. So, on the Create ribbon in the Forms panel, select Family Category and Parameters. In the Family Category and Parameter dialog, let's now select Furniture as our category. We'll then select OK, and we're now going to save this as a template. To do this, we'll select the File ribbon, we'll click on Save, and you'll notice in the dialog there is no option to save this as a Revit family template, which was a .rft file. Let's type Furniture Wall-Based, and then go ahead and click Save. We can then start up Windows Explorer. You can then navigate to where you've saved your RFA file, and very simply here we'll change the file extension from RFA to RFT. Windows gives us a warning about changing the file extension, but we'll say yes because we are sure that we want to change this. If you don't see the file extension on the files, you can switch this on by selecting the View tab, and on the View tab under Show Hide panel, you can select File Name Extensions, and that will then display that file name and the extension. Okay, so your RFT file has now been created, and of course when you create a new family, you can now use that as the family template.